And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Okay, starting the marine segment here, we'll look at tonight's weather. Clearing out continues to move slowly eastward here, but a lot of low clouds coming into the west coast with westerly flow. And then another system pushing increasing wind and rain for the western Arctic coast, western Brooks Range, and the northwest coast area there into the NOAA Valley. Weak trough bringing rain, fog, and drizzle. Low IFR flying conditions here at the Pribilof Islands. Some of that breaking off and dropping down over the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. And another warm front bringing warm front type weather with it. Low clouds, fog, drizzle, and light rain here from the western Aleutians pushing in toward Adak late tonight. And this system and a weak front keeping it wet and unsettled over the southeast coast with slowly diminishing but persisting showers here on the east side. And for tomorrow, a lot of sunshine. Kodiak Island again up into Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Valley, right on up into the central interior. Pick up some clouds there as you get up into the Koyukuk Valley with a chance of rain actually around Bettles northward with this system pushing eastward. Another couple of lows back out here a little bit farther to the south, and they'll be tracking in on Thursday. Otherwise, dry for the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, southeast Bering Sea, but a lot of clouds and IFR. And now rain changing to showers and slowly diminishing for the southeast coast. And this warm front slowly pushing eastward here, bringing rain, fog, and IFR to the central Aleutians. Light winds for the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula. Then we'll see on Thursday up here to the northwest, that front drops southeastward, bringing rain into at least the northern half of the Yukon Delta there, eastward into the interior with a westerly flow, and rain extending back up along the frontal boundary there to the eastern Arctic coast, scattering out the showers back toward the NOAA Valley, Kotzebue area. Mostly sunny again, south central Alaska, Kenai Peninsula, Bristol Bay. A few more clouds swishing the northern Susitna Valley area, and still some scattered shower conditions, but partly sunny skies for the southeast interior, and partly sunny for the southeast coast with high pressure dominating, especially along and off the coastline there. Coastal water forecast, south to southwest winds 15 knots, south to southeast at 15 knots for the central coast, and the north coast winds light out of the east. Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, Stevens Passage, south winds at 15 knots, and Clarence Strait southeast at 15 knots. And for the day on Thursday, variable winds, 10 knots for the inside water areas, and light winds out of the south at 10 knots for the south coast. North coast about the same, a little different in the direction, though, east-southeast up that way. And for Prince William Sound, light variable winds tomorrow. And for the North Gulf Coast, variable to southwest breeze at about 10 knots, with seas running 3 to 4 feet. Small craft advisories here hold over the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay area, northwesterlies 25 to 30 knots, and Cook Inlet looking at northwest winds at about 10 knots. And for Thursday, Cook Inlet, south winds 20 knots, southeast 15 knot winds now for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands. And for the North Gulf Coast on the east side here, southeast winds at 15 knots. In Prince William Sound, southeast wind 10 knots, but sea staying slight. Kodiak Island, west-northwesterlies 20 to 25 knots for the day Wednesday. Here for the Alaska Peninsula, west to northwest 15 to 20 knots, and westerlies at 20 for Bristol Bay. And for the outlook on Thursday, light variable winds for the Alaska Peninsula at about 10 knots. Bristol Bay, west at 10. Kodiak Island, variable to south winds 10 to 15 knots. Eastern Aleutians, west to south winds tomorrow, 15 to 20 knots. Adak and Atka, south winds at 20. And the Western Aleutians, small craft advisories, southwest winds at 30 knots with seas 9 to 12 feet. Outlook for Thursday, small craft advisories continue for the Western Aleutians, west-southwest winds 25 to 30 knots. Small craft advisories now for Adak and Atka with westerlies at 25 knots as that system pushes eastward here. And that'll bring a little bit of an increase in the winds toward Nikolsky, 20 to 25 knots there. Otherwise, on Alaska Island, winds will be south at 20. And for the southwest coast, west-southwest, 15 to 20 knots here. Tomorrow, southwest 20 knots, St. Lawrence Island into Norton Sound. And for the St. Matthew Island area, wind southwest at 20. southwest 15 for the Pribilofs. And for the Pribilofs on Thursday, southeast winds at 20 knots, south at 20 knots there for St. Matthew Island, and southwest 20 knots, Yukon Delta coast, St. Lawrence Island. Small craft advisories for Norton Sound, southwest winds 25 knots are in the forecast. And up to the north there for the eastern Beaufort Sea, east winds or east-southeasterlies at 15, southeast 20 there for the central coast. Small craft advisories, western Arctic coast, southwest winds at 25 knots. In the Chukchi Sea, south to west winds anywhere from 20 to 25 knots. Then on Thursday, northwest winds at 20 here for the for the Chukchi Sea, western Arctic coast. Actually, the western and central coast, west winds at about 15 knots with 3-foot seas. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, south to southeasterlies at 10 to 15 knots.